It's Bree. Welcome back to #BSB. So in my last episode, I talked about my experience at NYU's Discover Stern Diversity Weekend. In this episode, I'm going to talk about my visit to Columbia and their Spotlight on CWiB event. So let's jump right in. The question you might be asking yourself right now is, what is Columbia's Spotlight on CWiB? Well, the event is very similar to NYU's Discover Stern event. The only difference is the Spotlight on CWiB event caters to female prospective students only. Also, this event only lasts for one day and is hosted by Columbia's Women in Business, and it gives prospective students an opportunity to interact with current students, connect with alumni, and also sit in on a mock class. So how does one attend? All you have to do is simply register for the event. When I registered for the event about 2 years ago, I had already subscribed to Columbia Business Schools, or CBS's database, and I received an alert saying that this event was coming up. I registered, and there you have it. You should know that this event, or any of their events, do reach capacity. So once they do, when you can still register, but you'll be placed on a wait list. So whenever someone decides to unregister or un-RSVP, the next person on the wait list then gets an opportunity to fully be registered. Now on to my experience at Spotlight on CWiB. In this event, there was breakfast and there was lunch. Those are the only two meals that they provide during this event, and that's because they have you from 9 a.m. to 4:30. Outside of the meals, there's a mock class, there's a lot of opportunities to connect with alumni and current students. There's a current student panel, there's also an alumni panel, there's an admissions session, as well as a financial aid overview and industry networking. Now the highlight for me throughout this entire event was the mock class that was taught by Professor Catherine Phillips. She hosted a class on leadership and making wise decisions. Now her teaching style was phenomenal. I can literally scroll through my Columbia notebook and I can show you all the notes that I have. Whenever it comes to making a decision, I refer back to those notes if my notebook is with me, of course. But a lot of the tactics that she shared with us during the class, I do practice regularly. Now with the student panel, they had a couple students on the panel talking about their experience so far at Columbia, what concentrations they were focused on, and if they were a second year, they talked about their internship experience. With the financial aid overview, during this session, a couple red flags were raised for me. I noticed that Columbia, or CBS, isn't a part of the consortium, and as I've said in past videos, I use whether or not the school is a part of the consortium as a way to gauge their dedication to being a more diverse campus. And during this visit, I noticed that the population was not that diverse. During the admission session, they talked about the usual, what their requirements were, when their intake seasons were. One thing that's different about Columbia is they have, in their full time, they have two programs. They have their August admits, which they do the traditional 2-year MBA. They come in August, they do the summer internship, and then they graduate like that following year. Well, they also have January admits, where those students, they don't do summer internships. They come in January, they take class in the summer, and then they're done the following year. So essentially they only do a year and a half. In admission sessions prior to attending Spotlight on CWiB, some of the reps have said like those candidates, they either are going back to their place of employment or they already have something lined up. But for a career switcher, they typically won't do the January admissions because they need that internship experience to determine whether or not they're really interested in switching into the career which they applied to business school to pursue. With the alumni panel, typical alumni panel, to be honest, nothing that I can remember really jumps out to me as something that was like memorable. I mean, essentially all business schools have expansive alumni networks, and Columbia also has an expansive alumni network. During the industry networking, another red flag was raised for me. So in the industry networking session, they had tables for each industry. consulting, investment banking, entrepreneurship, social enterprise, because Columbia doesn't refer to it as social impact or social entrepreneurship. They refer to it as social enterprise. Let's see, strategy, finance, marketing, and the list could go on and on about the industry tables that they had during this session. But the red flag for me was that no, there weren't many people at the social enterprise table, and that's something that I'm looking to go into, and to not see anyone at that table was like, okay, is there anyone at this school that's studying that? If I choose to go here, apply and choose to go here, will I be the only one? Will I have to like pave the way, or is there a way already paved for me? Certain questions that I had could not get answered because there wasn't a representative there to really vouch for the social enterprise population at Columbia. Also, I forgot to mention that during the lunch period, I got a chance to speak to the gatekeeper of diversity. He's basically the director of diversity admissions at Columbia. I told him about my candidacy profile, what I was struggling with, the GMAT, quant section of the GMAT, as my faithful viewers know, and he straight up told me that I should take a class, a math fundamentals class, or a business related class, like accounting, finance, and statistics. Right off the bat, he told me that the quant score is very important for CBS, and that I really should dedicate a lot of time to building up that score. By taking the class, it'll either help boost my quant score, or it'll show admissions that I'm at least trying to build up my GMAT score. And of course, when you take these supplementary classes, you strive for an A and you obtain an A, because if you get anything lower than that, it's kind of a red flag for them that you can't handle the class, therefore you can't handle the rigorous curriculum of an MBA. At this event, I also met a few MBA launchers, well, people who were going to be a part of my MBA launch class that upcoming winter. And also I met a few people in MLT. There's one girl who was an MLT fellow at the time that I really hit it off with, and she introduced me to Target Test Prep and also Magoosh. She suggested that I get the Magoosh subscription for verbal and that I get a Target Test Prep subscription for math. Both very valuable tips. As I said in my GMAT study tips video, those two softwares will definitely help prepare you for the GMAT. Now, just to really summarize my experience, you guys know the red flags for me, the fact that they're not a consortium school, and the fact that there weren't a lot of people in social enterprise or social impact as it's usually referred to. Outside of that, I also really didn't like the vibe of CBS. I don't know, just interacting with the current students and interacting with the alumni kind of really just didn't sit well with me. And if I'm choosing a business school, I want to feel at home. I don't want to feel like an outcast or an outsider. Like, to be honest, look at the color of my skin. No matter where I go, I get that feeling. But like, if I'm investing like $100,000 into a school, like, I better feel like I can walk around in my robe and slippers and be perfectly fine. So yeah, that was also a red flag for me. And I also didn't see a lot of people that look like me participating in CWiB, the Columbia Women in Business Organization. And I feel that when it comes to recruiting events, like, you should definitely have people of all races, creed, and religion participating in these events, because it could make or break someone's experience. And unfortunately for me, it broke my experience. It definitely broke my experience. And I'm not basing my entire judgment of Columbia on this one event. I have been to other events, and I've pretty much, my feeling or my vibe in the air, in the space, has felt the same. And I'm not sharing this to discourage anyone. Anyone who's interested in Columbia or is interested in going to business school in general, I suggest you visit as many schools as possible and make your own judgment or test out your own vibe at the place. Don't go by what I'm saying. This is just my experience at these business schools, the visits that I'm sharing with you all. So with that said, if you've visited Columbia and had a different experience, feel free to write or speak about your experience in the comment box below. I definitely welcome it. I welcome opposing views. I don't want everyone to just go off my views. As I've already said, I do want people to hear good experiences about their Columbia visit. And since in this video I have identified a couple of red flags about a particular business school, I want to take the time in the next episode of #BSB to talk about the preferences I have for business schools and things that I would like or expect a business school to have in order for me to consider them or consider adding them to my application list. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments about my Columbia visit, leave it in the comment box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You know, the thumbs really matter. And also subscribe to my channel. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit the bell that's next to the subscribe button so you can receive notifications when I post videos. And also share my channel with anyone you know currently embarking on a journey to business school. I know when I started this journey, I didn't really have any type of help. So the purpose of my videos are to help anyone out there who's looking to go to business school. So make sure you share. Till next time, bye guys.